Hi, I'm Edgar Hernandez.
And I'm Nuri Robles. And this is
Bar Talking
Bar, your access to the heartbeat of New York City's bar and hospitality scene.
Hosted straight from the city that never sleeps, we sit down with bartenders, brands and ambassadors, hospitality pros, and cocktail lovers.
Whether it's the art of bartending, the hustle behind hospitality, or the wildest bar tales, expect raw conversations and industry secrets.
Listen to the people who pour your favorite cocktails and keep the nightlife alive.
If you love bars, spirits, and the stories that bring them to life, follow us, share, and subscribe to keep the conversations flowing.
The podcast that you didn't know you need.
New episodes weekly.
Welcome back to another episode of your favorite podcast, Bar Talking Bar. I'm Edgar Hernandez.
And I'm Nuri Robles.
We're so excited today. First things first. I want to acknowledge everyone who's been listening and following us on Instagram and TikTok and all platforms. Thank you for the time you've been taking to listen to everyone's stories here. But without further ado, we want to introduce you with our good friend. Why don't you help me introduce our good guest of the day?
Niel Flores.
Yay! I love how you started off with like, Niel Flores.
No, the funny thing is I was going to say flowers, but I said no, it's Flores.
Yeah. Welcome to the VIP lounge. Niel, thank you so much for taking the day. We know you're far away in Jersey, and thank you for traveling all the way to no man's land.
I had to bring my passport.
That's right. Carry it with you at all times.
Thank you so much, because I know also you work very hard on Sundays, and definitely closing that bar is obviously, I think it's amazing, but also super like, oh, it's already day, right? But before we go further, many people knows you as we know, but some people probably don't. So if you help us to introduce yourself to the audience, who you are, where you're coming from, etc., etc.
All right. I am Niel Flores. I'm fortunately a bartender here in New York City, and very, very happy and excited to be here. So.
Perfecto. So obviously we're going to go back. So where are you originally from?
So I'm born and raised in Jersey City, and I started bartending. Well, started barbacking, bussing, serving at this small pub. It was a really cool pub in Jersey City called the Fox and Crow. And they did like live jazz in the back, classic cocktails. That's where I learned my classics, Old Fashioned, Sazerac, Manhattan. And it was really fun, honestly. Nice. But way before that, how I got into bartending was a very deep connection for me, in the sense of I was in the military for 6 years. I was in the Air Force, and I was a mortician.
Which is?
I would open bodies.
Oh, very, very.
That's very
so
interesting and cool.
Fun fact, yeah. But I did that, but after that, I drove tractor trailers and great money, but I was always
in
more...
the military as well? Or?
Yeah, military and outside of it. But I was always more in the pursuit of happiness. Mm-hmm. So I wanted things that I felt fulfilled me or just made me happy. So a little after that was when I took on that job at the Fox and Crow, and then opened up this it was more a fine dine restaurant in like Rutherford, New Jersey. And I actually lied in my resume there. I said I was a bartender, but I wasn't. But I knew my classics.
Like many people lies on the resume. Who doesn't? I want to stop you a little bit there, because obviously we know you, and I love your personality, and I guess also that has to be with your family, how you grew up. So if you want to tell us a little bit of like, how's your family? You have siblings, your mom, your pop?
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah,
I love my family. I could always be a better son, that's for sure, and a better sibling. But I grew up with 4 wonderful sisters that they're incredible. They really shaped me to be the man I am today.
Are they older than you, or?
I am the baby.
That's why.
But they are incredible, all of them in their own way, very special. And fortunately, I have one big brother, and he is the best father I've ever seen. And always at my corner, I just always had the best like support system. You know, we always had each other through thick and thin, and just we always had someone to rely on, which was each other, which was nice, because our parents would always be working. Mm-hmm. My dad wasn't really too present, but that's okay. My mom was though. My mom was always working though.
The mom is always the root of the family.
Yeah, man, she is so powerful, you know.
And that's what we honestly, gratefully, my mom also was kind of like the head of the family, but at the same time, the father and the mother. Sometimes, you know, we need these experiences. And I mean, now you're sharing experience with your sisters. I grew up. Most of my cousins were girls. So I grew up with all these girls, you know, like it was just like my brothers. I have three more brothers, but I relate more with my girl cousins that, you know, I used to, you know, hang out. They show me how to dance, do things. But with my cousins, they were like, they made me feel timid more than anything, really. So my cousins make me like feel more like grateful and uplifting and outgoing per se, you know. So I feel like, and I have a similar friend who said, you know, like their sisters were like there all the time. And sometimes you need that, you know, because we understand that, especially nowadays, how important the woman figure is in our lives. And we don't see that because we only know that our mom is there. But the sisters are very important in our lives too.
I also want to add that I feel like in the Latino community, we also have this representation of male that they are very strong. You know, sometimes they teach you like, men don't cry, men don't show their emotions. But I think growing up with women also gives you that feminine side that is nothing wrong with it, but it helps you to be a better person in society, I think, because you have both sides.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
You know, it gives you a better understanding, I would say, to be honest, and more depth, see things in a different way, or at least see things the way everyone can see them. And I think it's a plus, you know. I'm very grateful for my sisters. Every time they keep up with me, you know. I don't use social media too often, but it's only for work, but they always keep up with it, you know. And like, and they don't stop by the bar too often, but one specific sister, which is like my second mom, she's always there. Like, not visiting, but when she's in town right now, she's deployed.
Okay.
And she's also in the military.
Yeah. She actually, funny story, when I joined, she loves me very much. We have a very deep connection. Mm-hmm. When I joined, she joined a week after because she didn't want me to go alone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's sweet, yeah. I mean, I have only one sibling, and I don't know also how to grow with like more girls. So, but like you said, you have a brother and you have four sisters. How is a house like that? Like growing with like different ages, I guess.
Oh my
it's crazy.
God.
You were the baby, so you probably
were at war, man. It was a war zone every day. Fighting for the bathroom, you know.
At least fight.
Yeah.
So, do you remember like what would be your like childhood family meal that you always feel like, oh my God?
Oh man, the days that my mom used to cook.
Well, tell us your background a little bit, because I know you.
Oh yeah, so born and raised in Jersey City, and I come from Salvadorian descent.
Okay.
So my dad and mom. My mom was an orphan. She grew up in El Salvador. That's where she met my dad, and there was a civil war going on at the time in El Salvador. Yeah, and they migrated here to the United States, and they moved to Union City.
Yeah,
and that's where everything started, you know, for them. It was them and my older sister. They left my big brother and the second oldest sister back in El Salvador, so they grew up on their own.
Oh, sure.
You know, so it was tough. They have their own story, and it's honestly, I always get shocked, you know, how well our family turned out. Like everyone turned out good. Everyone's successful. Everyone is focused. Everyone's a family.
Yeah, because it's very hard when you grow, especially you grow alone and in a country that is going through like these big changes. Like, and you know, unfortunately, many people consider El Salvador, you know, with the propaganda and still like, oh, it's just like gangs, right?
Yeah.
And there's good people. I always say there's more good than the bad. If you just like the news, they always showcase the worst. It's not even the bad, it's the worst.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, that is not even helpful for everyone in the world because everybody sees it from outside. Like in our countries, people don't think out of the box either, right? So when you're showing and you know something bad or that is happening, you know, you don't want that.
And I feel like your explanation shows that as well, right? Like saying my brother and my sister grew up and they don't have to be gang members. They're like turn out like people.
No, they're perfect, people. Honestly. But no, you go back now and man, El Salvador is completely different.
Yeah.
I used to go back every year. I haven't gone back for like 3 years, but last time I went, everything is clean. You feel like you're in a tourist place.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, you feel the culture. You see the changes. You know, big thanks to that president, Bukele. He really changed things up, and you know, completely agree with him. Like, I really do agree with him. You know, everyone should pay the price for their mistakes. So.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like, I feel like, you know, every country has different laws and different situations. I guess also, like many people says, for example, in Mexico, we have kind of the same problematic, like, but compared with El Salvador, Mexico is also a big country, so it's harder to have manage that amount of like violence and things like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like going back, for example, like your family, right, and talking about your childhood, I believe Mexico and El Salvador has like similar things like tortillas, I guess. Yeah.
The pupusas are the best thing ever. Gorditas, I call them. If you guys are in Mexico City, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Listening.
So going to my question, like, what would be like a dish that you would be like, oh my God, when I was a kid, I was eating this. And
man, to be honest, what I remember was my dad's rabo.
Rabo de chivo or rabo de vaca?
Rabo de vaca.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, my dad's rabo. He would always make this like secret hot sauce. Till today, he hasn't given anyone his recipe.
Oh.
But yeah, dish-wise, that is something I remember.
And why did you choose to go to the army?
Oh man, that is a deep question there, because so I had a scholarship. I ran track, and I was a good runner. And I got a scholarship to Ohio U, and I ran there for a year, but it was my first time leaving home ever.
So you lived in Ohio for a year?
I went, yeah, pretty much, because I went for a year for college, and it was a different world.
How old were you?
I was young. I was 18.
Oh, wow.
But it was a different world, completely different people. I experienced quite a bit of racism, to be honest. But I had my family.
Bro, but you're lighter than I am.
You know what's funny? A lot of growing up, we would be like, el güerito, because my light eyes, blah blah blah. But no, like when you're in a different state, you're recognized right away instantly.
Yeah. And the accents, right? Because even if we have a New York or New Jersey accent, it's like you're still...
Yeah. But long story short, I did a year over there. I knew I didn't want to go back. And I loved running. I was always very competitive. I love sports. But it took the love away from track, that I no longer wanted to compete. Because it was so different over there. Anyways, instead of wasting a year, and I didn't want to go back to Ohio, so I instead of wasting time, I hate wasting time, So I joined the military. And at the beginning, my family didn't believe me, but everything was submitted already. I took my ASVAB, and the way I ended up a mortician was completely my fault. I was young, kind of stupid. I scored good on the ASVAB, and they're like, here are your job listings. And I was young and stupid, and I was like, whatever you need me for.
And they're
Damn.
like, okay, here you go.
That recruiter was like, jackpot. I was like, no.
I
So-
thought, honestly, when you said, I was like, okay, maybe he was very like, I want to know what is going on in the liver or something like that.
No. So, but it was too late, once I signed away, I was happy, I was like, oh man, I'm doing something exciting, something that I chose to do. And it was still my choice, but I took it very serious. Like, but what I trained. I was training so hard, like as if I was going to the Olympics or something, man. I was swimming, lifting, running. By the time I got to boot camp, I thought it was so easy. But it was my first time being away from home. It was different to experience other people away from home, their reactions, crying, isolated, like, but I was always, now that this is where I gotta thank my mom, like, I was always warm to people, like, hey, everything's gonna be okay.
Mhm.
We got each other now.
Good.
It's like, so it was like a band of brothers, freaking 60 guys showering together,
Yeah.
So, but it was, it's my brothers, like, I actually still keep in touch with some of them. And it was a great experience in the military, to be honest. I loved it. I loved the discipline. I love the structure. I love not necessarily rules, but I just love that discipline and sharpness of, hey, this is what we are. This is what we represent. The tightness.
And so when you sign up and they said, okay, you're gonna be a mortician, how's your feeling like, as a young person dealing with like dead bodies? Because I think when you go to school and you learn anatomy, it's different to see a picture when you have to open a body.
I mean, there's trainings to it, but the first time I was in the room, that smell alone was very thick, and it took getting used to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're never in the room alone. You're always with a doctor that, you're pretty much handing him tools unless he tells you, hey, cut something. But, after a while, it's all mental. Like, it's not that serious. After a while, I was just with music, just chopping things up.
Yeah. And I mean, it's also feels a purpose, right? Like you're doing that because something has to be, I don't know, proof in a paper.
Yeah.
And I guess it's not like you're just playing with a body.
Yeah. But the toughest part was, dressing them and maquillajes. The toughest part was after that was giving him back to the family.
Mm-hmm.
Family was always very, resentful. Hey, the military, you'd get spit on, because we would also do the ceremonies.
Oh.
That was the toughest part, seeing the reaction of families.
And for example, for you, what also was like, how long you been in the army and then going back home? How does it work?
So fortunately, you would do like 3 months of that, and then they would give you like 6 months, like off of doing your job skill. Or they'll place you in another thing. They'll place you in the gym, handing out towels or something.
Okay.
But to cut after the military, what drew me to like really love the industry or find the happiness, since I was always chasing it, was I feel like dealing so much with the dead, I really learned to value life, value people, value their interactions, value them from even behind the bar now. Like, it's very important to me.
Yeah. I mean, I was working a little bit in a hospital, and I remember having also patients that they pass, so you have also to like dress them and do that. And I remember, obviously when my mom passed, it was like that certainty with death. But when you see other people and you don't have feelings, I think it opens a little bit more your eyes in terms of like, this is how we are, right? One day you're alive and one day you're not. And definitely it makes you an impact in terms of like, how kind can you be with people? How kind can you be with yourself as well, right? Because
Exactly. It's how to value life and every day, every second, rather than just, thinking of whatever craziness we have as young adults, right? Because at that time, you're 18, 19, 20 perhaps.
Yeah.
You're like discovering life in so many ways. And in a good way, it's an experience that a lot of people can relate, because a lot of people who has been in the army can relate to this, that, you know, they went and did this kind of jobs or any other job in the military, and then went back home, and they went back to society, you know, trying to be part of something, you know, like maybe some became teachers, some became a physical instructor, some became pro athletes, and then there's so many different, you know, directions they took, but your life took you to a different path, to discovering the hospitality of food and service. And the food and service industry, what the food and service industry has to offer in terms of the human part of it, rather than just, you know, giving you a cocktail, giving you the best meal we have, giving you the best special we have, is making you feel like also at home, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what, I mean, I don't know, but what I've seen throughout the years that I've met you, you always been so kind. And you're like,
And always with a smile.
I never knew, like, honestly, I didn't even know that you were part of the military until like a couple years ago. But what really caught my eye in a way, it was like, wow, he's been in the military, but he's not this tough person, rude, like shouting. Like, he's super chill. He's always relaxed. Like, you're busy when accessing your work behind the bar. You're always like, you know, you chill. You're always like, what's up? Hey, what's up? Like, hey, saying hi to everyone. Which sometimes, even to me as a bartender, I'm like, on my, you know, like we say, tunnel vision. I'm working my cocktails, like, hey, hi, hey. But you get distracted somehow because you want to get things done, right? But I've always seen you, like, you know, talking to everybody. And I feel like it's part of the military too, because you said it earlier, right? It's the structure, but also showing you that, like, consistency and resilience, and, you know, like, I'm aware of everything. I know where everything goes, what's happening. And that's pretty cool, because, you know, not a lot of us have that. I think there's only one person that we know who has been in the military, in the industry, and that's Marcelo Chassis. Yeah, we love that guy. But I mean, your story is amazing, because, I mean, a lot of folks who are listening or watching right now can relate to that, you know, either being in the military or they wanted to be part of the military. Because I know a lot of people who wants to be part of the military, they don't know what they get into until they get in there, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know how many miles you have to run. You don't know how many push-ups or pull-ups or all these workouts that you have to do until you are there. Because you have to go through certain programs and paces in order for you to qualify and be part of it, right? Yeah. What did you say?
No, I'm
And that's amazing to me, you know, like, the way I see it from this, you know, this side. But I mean, nobody can leave killing your shoes, right? And so you grew up in Jackson, in Jersey, and you started working in this place. And how do you get in there? Like, do you apply? Do you went in there and look for a job? Like you say, you went to the second place.
Yeah.
You applied in a resume, but
So
how do you start there?
So I was working in both Fox and Crow and the Fine Dine restaurant. But when I left both, a job opened up at the time. It was like the best bar in Jersey City. Actually, the Garrett Group. The Garrett Group opened it in Jersey City. It's called Doughboy.
Mm-hmm.
An amazing bar. You know, really 80s, 90s hip hop. At the time of opening, very industry heavy. But it was like the first bar that I went into, and I was like, whoa, this is a vibe. But it was a different type of vibe. It wasn't like a college vibe that I was used to, you know, going down to Hoboken, and it was all freaking craziness. College students going nuts. But it was like, you felt a quality to it. And the drinks were good. They were tasty. They were quick. The bartenders were, I saw them, and it was their stage. You know, they were putting on the show for the people. The room was packed, standing room, great bumping of hip hop. It was just nice. The lights were low, very dim in there. And I was like, man. And they had Wednesdays where they had vinyl Wednesdays.
Okay.
And it was always packed. But it was really good records just playing. And I was like, I grew such an appreciation to like their music. And I would never miss a Wednesday. So I would go, but then I was like, I want to work there. And I saw that they were looking for someone, and I applied. And somehow I got the job.
As a bartender. Okay.
Wow.
And man, I had a great time. I was working with a great French guy. His name was Gabriel. Genius at creating cocktails, delicious drinks. We had a good run, you know. Then he moved on somewhere else. I stayed at Doughboy for like a few years, but I always had that ambition in me, because now I knew I was in it and I was passionate about it. I loved cocktails. I loved people. I loved treating guests.
So you never thought like, okay, maybe I can study something else, or I can go. So you fall in love right away.
Yeah, I tried school. It just wasn't for me. A classroom environment wasn't for me. It would bore me.
Yeah.
It would bore me, and it wasn't for me. So I knew, like, I really enjoyed what I was doing, and I wanted to take it to that next level. And what better level than New York City?
Mm-hmm.
And, so you start working in New York City.
Then Gabriel, before leaving, was like, "Hey, this great bar is opening up in New York City. You should apply." And I was like, "Come on, I don't know anyone over there. How am I gonna get hired?" And it was Broken Shaker. I didn't know anything about any cocktail bars, nothing. I was like, he was like, "Promise me you're gonna go apply out. Matter of fact, I'll go with you." So he actually came with me. We applied together.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And we applied to Broken Shaker, and that was probably one of the best things ever, in the sense that that's where I met my bestest friends till today in New York, which is, Jose Morales, Eddie Burgos. They're still at Broken Shaker, actually, and they work at Goodnight Sunnies in the East Village.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
They are incredible people.
And what year are we talking about?
Shoot, maybe 17.
Okay.
I think 17. And that's where I met one of my mentors, Gabe Horta.
Okay.
Was one of the owners of Broken Shaker. So intellectual, I like his deep connection to like things beyond everything we do. He thinks more energy, he thinks more peace within yourself. And, like there was a moment where he was sending me multiple books to read, but it was me reaching out to him. "Hey, Gabe, like, you have any recommendations?" And also he loves to surf. He actually went to El Salvador, and he actually recommended me a hotel over there when I went to El Salvador. And I actually stayed at the hotel. Amazing. Like, wow. Because he's a big surfer. And at Shaker, I went in as a barback though.
Okay.
And we were opening it. It was the opening. It was a crazy opening. 17, 18-hour days in the heat.
The summer.
That is where I learned the epitome of mega batching. Yeah. It was crazy.
How big could be batch over there?
Oh my God, it was a gallon. I mean, like
Cambros, like 5 gallon?
Yeah, like a big Cambros on Cambros, and it was nuts.
Nuts.
It was really nuts.
Wow.
And right now we're in 2026, and we know that back in the early 2000s, it was a change in the cocktail world in New York City, bringing like natural juices. And so we're talking about 17 years later. Can you talk about like how was the scene? Because right now the scene is obviously completely different.
Oh, what do you mean? I was the scene?
In terms of like, right now you see a lot of like bars that they do clarifications.
Oh,
things
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But back in the day, I think in the middle of the,
Back then, there wasn't many, right? There wasn't many clarifications back then.
No,
actually not.
For
No,
batching, yeah.
we didn't have. We're not even one.
No, because
No, that's why I'm asking, because like I was telling you before, I wasn't like really bar person back in those years, and I remember that either hear of like, let's go to that bar, right? And the cocktail places were more like sophisticated and things like that. So I think Broken Shaker was like opening. So how was the scene?
It was all like like it was like variations of margarita, old fashioned, swizzles. I remember that. I remember there was an orgeat drink too, but no, nothing over the top. Nothing over the top of like the base spectrum of classics. Something came from there. The craziest one that I remember was like an infusion of a poppy seed.
Okay.
It was like an egg. It was an egg white drink.
Mm-hmm.
It was a poppy seed bagel infusion. That was I think our most wild cocktail.
And when you started working there, did you see like ingredients that you were not aware of?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. The whole set more vegetables and stuff, and I was like, seeing like I didn't even know how to make an orgeat at that point, but that's where I learned all these things. Like
and a high volume.
Yeah, it was high volume, just mega batch, like making large amounts. but it was just crazy. Every single day there was insane.
Yeah, and I think at this point, like, for example, I remember the first time also when I tried an orgeat drink, I was like, oh my God, this is so good. But I didn't know also what was the orgeat, right? Until someone told me like, oh, be careful because someone can have an almond
Allergy. Yeah.
allergy. And I was like, oh, it's made of
Yeah, but also, I'm 17. 2017, no one really was like, oh, I'm allergic to this, that. I think this stuff came up after years, but the allergy trend-ish. I mean, everybody who has an allergy, but like nobody was really like saying, I have an almond allergy, I have a almond allergy. Like they had it, but nobody had like a card and went out and say, I have all these allergies, I can't go out,
Yeah.
No, I mean, I was going to say that because in terms of like nowadays we know or have more access to information. Like nowadays you can hear like people doing orgeat with avocado seeds.
Yeah.
But back in the day for me it was like, oh, I didn't even know that it was made of an almond.
But also at Shaker, I didn't really deal with bartending much because I was a barback.
Mm-hmm.
So I barely got to touch tins there. It was only my homies that let me rock. They would put me in the spot and it'd get crazy sometimes. Like, oh, come on, rock it with me. And I would never forget one of those moments in the rooftop with Jose. It was me and Jose Morales just duking it out, man, banging out. It was crazy. It was fun. It was a good feeling because I never bartended in New York. And I was always very loyal to the places that I worked at. I always wanted to be there and just stay there. And long story short, at Shaker, there came a moment where I was always going into employees only, and I loved it there. They such a great energy bar. Seeing what inspired me at employees only was I could be there at 2 a.m, 3 a.m, and the bartender would still be there with high energy. But I get it now that I work there. But because the seniors would go home and the young guys get to step up, and the young guys were always so hungry because this is my time to shine now. So they would rock it with a smile because it was their time to shine. I remember seeing Frankie. Frankie has a black shirt, Boki has a black shirt, and it was special. But this is me as a guest. And one day, random day, Alejandro, I don't know if you guys know Alejandro. Yeah. Ale calls me like at 3 a.m. And they would come to Shaker once in a while and I would make sure they get in. And he's like, hey, Niel, blah, blah. How you doing? Like, good. What's up? And he's like, well, we were talking with the team and the team, multiple people threw your name that if you'd be interested to join the apprentice program here at Employees Only. And I was like, what?
Why are you talking
I was
about?
like,
Are you drunk? 3 o'clock in the morning.
But I was like, oh man, can I call you back tomorrow? And that night I was talking with Jose, and again, he's one of my bestest friends. And him and Eddie literally forced me out of Broken Shaker. They were like, good friends.
Go find it.
Good friends. And they were just like, I'll never forget, Jose just like, get out of here. If you come back, I'm going to be upset at you.
I'm going to kick him.
He was just like, take it, roll with it. And I said yes the next day. And that's when I started my journey at Employees Only. And it was the toughest thing I've ever done in my life.
So you say easy, but I think we're humans. Your feelings were like nervous.
Oh my God, I felt like an abandoned puppy. I felt like an abandoned puppy. Like my best friend, the one that I would hang out with all the time, just kicking me to the curb, And, But at the same time, we never lost connection. He was always there, and that's a real friend,
People will always want you to do better.
Not always.
Yes.
Not always.
When you have the friends that actually push you to do something, that's when you're like, they're gonna be there always, regardless, and that's a good thing because if you want to grow, sometimes we don't see or I'm gonna quote somebody else who say, I don't believe in myself, but somebody else believe in myself. I think makes me believe. So I think that's what happens, sometimes you need that push of somebody to tell you, hey, go do it.
Yeah.
Go.
I
Take the chance, you know?
I completely agree.
Yeah.
And then at Employees Only, I was very locked in. Very locked in. I didn't drink for a year. And I was just focused.
Well, how is it like, after you call Ali, I guess, and say, yes, I accept. So they call you to interview or just training?
No. I got hired.
Cool.
Yeah, I got
And you
hired.
were a Barback, right? That's what you said.
Stalker.
So a stalker
I was
apprentice.
a stalker, the apprentice program. So I was a stalker, and I was doing all the prep. I was opening the bar, closing the bar, be back the next day. The program is not for everyone. 90% of people quit. I always say it's the Navy SEALs of bars. And it's
because
not
the schedule or because of the
everything, you know.
It's busy. I mean, it's a busy
mentally,
space.
it's physically. You're carrying big buckets of ice up and down the stairs. And then it's, for 15, 16, 17-hour days sometimes. And then you're expected to be back in the morning. If there's a meeting after you closing the bar, no mercy. Like, you got to be there. But I loved it because it brought me back to my military roots. And
you're not playing with me, guys.
You don't know where I come from?
I loved the system. And, throughout the time at Shaker and all the time at entering New York, I was learning more. I was doing my homework more. And I actually met Steve Schneider at EO, and he was so kind. He was so kind. I will never forget.
He
was also military, and that's why.
That's actually how I met. Well, when I met Steve Schneider through, I think it was like a YouTube video when Employees Only was kind of like coming up like 10, 15, 20 years ago, almost 15 maybe. I was like, wow, Steve Schneider. And then I learned from him being in the military.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, that's crazy. But he was one of the first head bartenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, he got famous because of the documentary thing.
Yeah, that's the one.
The Hey Bartender.
Yes.
I mean, that was part, but also like in general, but in New York, we know that the Employees Only is an
it's an institution too, but they have been doing it for years.
And I'll never forget a Christmas Eve or day, somebody needed their shift covered. Steve volunteered to cover it. It was just me and Steve.
Wow.
He told the apprentice, hey, go take a break. It was just me and him. He was like, and I loved how he said it. He was mad real about it. He was like, hey, I'm going to teach you a bunch of shit today. You could take it or you don't have to. I don't care. But
straightforward.
Yeah, straight up. Just you either use it or you don't. And I loved it. It was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Did he know you were also military or?
Yes.
Oh, he probably that's
honestly,
what he probably said.
That is probably why we bonded very well. Like he would always come to see me at my other spot, Katana Kitten.
Okay.
And not to jump too ahead, I at Employees Only. That night, at Christmas night, was very special. Working next to Steve. He doesn't remember now. I reminded him. I was like, you remember that Christmas? Like, no. But I get him. My man got like 1,000 things going on. But at Employees Only, I met another mentor. I always say it's good to have multiple mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Dev Johnson. Dev is Dev, classic, man. Bold, clean, moves so clean, and very charismatic and funny. And I would see it. But again, as a stalker, I would just go in, out. I'd time myself. Go inside the bar, 45 seconds, blah, but make sure everything's out. And, but Dev really also opened up a door for me. Because I went to Katana. One day I would always go visit Lalo.
Lalo, yes, I love Lalo.
Lalo, he's actually at Superbueno. And also.
Oh, he's back at Superbueno?
Yeah, he's back.
Oh, okay.
I think Tuesdays. So tomorrow.
I thought he moved to Connecticut, but we'll talk about that, yeah.
And I love to go. I love seeing Lalo. And I would always go to Ghost Donkey to visit him. That's actually where I met Nacho and Nachito.
The double nacho.
I never had the opportunity to.
I always call it double nacho.
No way.
No. I used to go there all the time for my palomas and my nachos.
And I went once to Ghost Donkey in a New Year's Eve, but a very late time. So everybody was like crazy and everything. So I tried to get a drink. And I was like, hey, can I have it? And obviously everybody was like all over the place. And I never got the drink. So I get super pissed. And I went out and I was like, why Edgar recommend me coming here?
I did.
Because you were always a Ghost
okay.
Donkey. But I was like, I don't like this place.
I used to go to Superbueno a lot, especially
Ghost Donkey.
Ghost Donkey on Sundays. Because Sundays was like, we finished brunch and we used to go there.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Sundays were like religion. You don't miss Sundays. Sundays were
That's actually
fun.
how I met
Nacho?
Nacho. No, Nacho. I met him when he was the public, and the daily.
Okay.
It was a tiny little kind of like cocktail bar
with masa.
and then he opened up Ghost Donkey, but at Ghost Donkey it was Nacho. There was Cat.
Yeah. That was Sunday night right there.
Nachito was there. He was a barback, and there was this other barback. He was a little older man.
Carlitos.
I don't know. He was bald.
Yes,
He was like a little grinchy, He was like always mad, and always
grumpy.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, oh shit, why are you guys using my glasses? I just washed them. Well,
There's always a grumpy worker.
I call it grumpy cats because they're grumpy, but they're adorable. Like they're fucking great.
But he was so good. Yeah. He's the one that got you home on time.
Yeah,
because he's the one cleaning everything.
Yeah.
But no, I loved going over there. It was religion to go always Sundays, and it was always with my best friends, Jose, Eddie, and the group. So I went to Katana to visit Lalo one day, and I was only at employees only at this point. So I needed another job. I was looking for another job.
Because you were already not at a...
I wasn't at Shake.
But you were still a barback, and then you went to Katana, or were you already a bartender?
No, I was a barback. I hadn't bartended in a while now.
Okay.
Because in New York, you gotta put in your work, earn your stripes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Back in the day.
Back in the day. And so that was my process right now. Focused, putting in the work. And then I go to Katana and Lalo's bartending. And I remember I didn't have much money because as a stocker you weren't getting anything, and I wasn't working too much. So I was on the hunt for another job. I had like $40 in my pocket. And I was like, okay.
Browns for the house.
And I was like, oh, this is enough for a highball at Katana Kitten. So I'm like, let me go pay Lalo a visit. So I go pay Lalo a visit. Back in the day, cocktails were like 17. Perfect. Cocktail and tip. and then Lalo introduces me to my brother, Armando. Armando was barbacking.
Oh, that's when the love begins.
No, it wasn't.
No?
Not yet. We just introduced each other there.
Okay.
This is actually a funny
Let's
story.
jump away.
This is a funny story. So he introduces me to Armando. Hey, how you doing? And I asked Lalo, hey, Lalo, you guys hiring? He's like, oh, I don't know. I don't think so. Not at the moment. And then he goes, hey, by the way, because I'm closing out. By the way, Nacho's working at a Ghost Donkey. You should go pay him a visit. I'm like, why not? I got another $20. It's a paloma.
Yeah.
It's a paloma. So I walk over from the West Village to Soho, to where Ghost Donkey was. And I see Nacho, and Nacho's always been so warm, so welcoming as he continues to be. And he's like, Niel, me dicen que estás buscando trabajo.
Like right away?
Yeah, because I had a broken shaker.
Because he's really good friends with Lalo. They're from the same town, right? They know each other.
But also, Nacho would DJ at Broken Shaker a lot.
Oh, okay.
And he would spin. It was amazing. Anyways, he's like, stay right here. My friend Masa's looking for a barback. And I was like, oh God, I just came from there. So he goes to the corner of the bar, comes back tomorrow, 4 p.m., Katana Kitten, don't be late.
Oh God, I love that.
I was like, oh God, this is so bad because I was just there drinking. But
the cool thing is they know you're looking for, The cool thing that's...
No, and also I think that's the amazing part of our industry, that when you get good relations, like and you have a good reputation, also people are able to like
Yeah.
vouch for you.
But also,
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
And, this is something. So during this, Nacho had told Masa, he was like, "No, you need to get this guy. This is a good guy." And me and Nacho knew each other from me just being there, but he never saw me work. But I'm guessing he took maybe Jose's word or maybe Eddie's. I don't know. But
They probably saw you, but you never really realized. 'Cause
maybe.
people just always like looking at 360,
Maybe, but they took me, and then the next day, that's when I see Armando again.
You hear?
And Masa's like, "Hey, okay, Armando, you're gonna be training Niel. He's our new employee. Blah, blah, blah. Just show him where everything is. See, show him all the things that we're responsible for. Blah blah blah." And Armando's like, "Wait, I think I know you." I was like, "Yeah, I was here yesterday." And he's like, "That's right." And Armando keeps trying to talk to me in English, and I was like, "You can talk to me in Spanish." But he thought I didn't know Spanish.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh wait, Honduras."
Yeah.
And we just hit it off, and man, we just were always tight. We were always pushing each other up as barbacks, just like trying to do everything excellent.
No, and it's super sweet because I think many people can, we all know each other, but we always see you guys together.
Yeah.
And we see your friendship is like, that friendship is like, sometimes people are jealous of it. Like, I want
No, that is.
No, it's something you build.
Yes.
But also, like,
Yes.
when you work with somebody, it's more than a brotherhood. It's like, I can't even explain it because I have friends that I can relate with, like the same thing that I work with, that we worked for years. You can fight, you can argue, but at the end of the day, you love each other because, like, there's no hate, there's no drama. It's just like you guys, like you say, you try to do the best you can because you want to excel too, You don't want to be left behind. And of course, you guys were barbacks, but you move your way up. And when you guys were promoted to bartenders, who was promoted first? Like you or?
Oh man, so Armando was, and I will never forget that shift because he came in and he didn't even know.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Hey, by the way, Armando, you're bartending today." He was very nervous. Bartending at Katana Kitten at the time was very, very, oh man, like, this is Masa's bar and Masa is Masa. And so I remember I was his barback. I was like, "Hey," I encouraged him. I was like, "Hey, take it, hone it, just let it rip. I got your back. I got your back. I got you. I got you. You got me." And he was like, "Oof, let's go." He just got the guy in the comfort zone. I was like, the cocktails, man. Just do them. Just do them. This is your opportunity.
I'm picturing
And
like a movie right
man,
now.
no, it was very intense, because every detail mattered. Every detail, every temperature, every highball. What it says on that mirror really was a representation. The coldest balls in the city.
Yeah,
and it was.
I had a really good highballs in there.
Yeah, it had to be. It wasn't but no questions. It needed to be. So it really required that excellence, the perfection in you. But hey, he killed it, man. He did great. And months went by, and then he I don't know how long it took me. It took me like over a year and a half, maybe. But when I started bartending, but then COVID happened.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you started bartending at Katana first, and then employees?
No, employees came. So this is where it gets interesting. At employees, I was stocking for 2 years, 2.5 to maybe even 3. And because you can't move up unless someone leaves. Nobody would leave. But then COVID happened, and that's when everything changed in New York in general.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember recovering from COVID. Armando had came back earlier than everyone. DG, I don't know if you guys remember DG, that incredible barback, so good.
Oh yeah, he moved to
Oaxaca.
Mexico. Yeah, right. I saw him a few times, but
He was a rock
he
star.
moved to Mexico.
He was wow.
Oh my God.
And there was a whole
I'll pass you my water very quick. Sorry.
there was a whole shift in the city, and Masa had made us rotate. I started bartending. I would bartend one week, Armando would serve. The following week, Armando would bartend, I would serve. And he let us take care of downstairs.
Okay.
And that's when our chemistry really started coming together. Because the playlists were different from upstairs to downstairs. Man, we were creating a vibe downstairs. He would make the cocktails, and instead, if he had free time, he wouldn't stay still. He'd get out, we'd bust tables, we'd be like just doing everything together, just that really Latin force of hospitality. And we were pushing it. And it's tiny bar downstairs. If we're really in the weeds and tables are good, I know waters are filled, everything's good, I'd get behind that little tiny bar and we'd both rock them out together, just boom, ba, 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 because we were both bartenders, but we were also servers. And I guess Masa saw it, and he's like, they deserve a shift upstairs. And then they put us on a Saturday night upstairs together. And then we rocked Saturdays for a few years. And it's just our chemistry just kept building and building and building and building. But I just really loved how tight we were, how much we pushed each other.
What do you think is the magic that makes it work?
I love that you asked this question because this answer, I asked it also. But I asked it to one of my good friends also, and I love him so much, Nachito. Nachito the Great. I asked him this question, and he gave me the most perfect answer that was just perfect. And he goes, love. He was just straight up, you need to love each other. You need to love each other, and you need to know that the person to your left, the person to your right has your back equally as much as you have theirs. And I was like, I just stayed looking at him. I was like, hijo de la verga. But he's right. There's no formula. It's a relationship. It's you just build upon it, build upon it, build upon it. And when it just happens, you reach a magic level that is hard to reach, I would always say, with relationships, but everything has to do with it, from lighting to music. But I always say, like, everything great that's happening behind the scenes transitions to the people in front of us, which is what really matters.
Yeah.
And if they're feeling it and they're happy, it makes everything, every bite taste better, every sip taste better, because it's just in the air.
And I think we were mentioning before, like one of the things that sometimes makes you stay in a place is because you have people that could be love, but also people that you rely on them, because sometimes it's like you have to work and you think, oh my God, I'm gonna work with this person, and that person is lazy, or that person.
I mean, this is what what I don't know if you guys can see it, and you guys in the audience in the video, be the person you want to work with. I mean, I think this is the perfect example, right? Because you want to be a nice person to the other person, but the other person has to be a nice person with you, because at the end of the day, you guys are like a well-oiled machine, right?
Yeah.
It runs smooth, but you guys make it run because there's two parts of the rotation. It's not just one, comes from one side, and that's pretty cool. And we've seen it. I've seen it. I mean, we love you. We love freaking Armandito.
Yeah.
Shout out to Armando, by the way.
Yes,
Saludos,
Armando.
papi chulo.
We're
love
gonna
you.
have him here. I don't know how, but we're gonna bring him here so
we're gonna
we
bring
can hear
Armando.
his side of the story.
He has a beautiful journey.
And then I'm gonna be a violin. I love you guys. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So obviously you were working at Katana. You had the opportunity to be bartending there. When did you start bartending at Employees Only?
Again, COVID was just, it was a blessing to us, to not just me, but to barbacks in general, because it moved a generation of, all the barbacks were Latino.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe 80-90% of us.
95.
95. We'll take it to 98. And then we all moved up, but we moved up with a force, in the sense of we knew what was at stake.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So we needed to make an impact, and know people knew we were here and we were here to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had already moved up at Katana. And man, Employees Only was again, going back to the toughest thing I've ever done. But when we had that meeting, and Dushan was in town, and they called me to get promoted to finally get my apprentice jacket, I was shaking. I couldn't button it. I didn't know how to put a jacket on. And it was very emotional for me. It was very emotional. And that same day that I got my jacket, I worked the shift. It was easily one of the best days ever.
You deserve it, though. You deserve it.
No way, you earned it. Fuck.
Honestly,
I mean, in a way, shit. I mean,
it definitely felt like one thing that I definitely earned. And I felt the love within the industry, all the people that came by and brought flowers. And, you know, like my alpha mentor in my life is Masa, and Masa made it so special for me.
That's
And
good.
Yeah, no. It was definitely a proud achievement. But along with achieving that, you know, it only adds more pressure in the sense of now you're in charge of something. You're in charge of the next person in line. And I always took that very, very seriously. One thing that I always love at employees till today is that we get to nurture the future of the next stalker, the next apprentice. You know, you're shaping someone's career. And fortunately, I'm very fortunate, and I thank God every day that I have the mentors that I have, the teachings that I've had from Nacho, from Masa, from Armando, from my colleagues at Katana, Lorenzo, Kip, our head bartender at Bueno, from everyone around us, you know, Frankie, Maddie, like everyone has something to teach. And we get to pass that all forward to the next person. So I love that everyone can learn something from a different shift. And my Sunday shift at Employees Only, it's so special to me. And actually one of the stalkers to me, because I hate missing them. And you'll never see me miss them. unless I'm out for work or something. But he said a beautiful thing. And I was like, oh man, I like that. I'm gonna start using that. But he was like, oh no. Sundays for you is like going to church. I was like, yeah, I like the sound of that.
And you know, I think many people loves to go Sundays because you are there. You know, and that's, I'm not really like going out like to Employees Only because obviously I'm usually go this side. But every time I want to go, it's like, oh, I want to go because it's Niel. And every time, like we said, you always be with this. I mean, everybody's with a smile, right? But we know that you treat everyone as the same.
Yeah,
so like,
that's how it should
you're
be.
only my group of friends, and I'm gonna treat you right now. You treat everyone the same.
It should be.
And
like
I love it. And I
no,
love it.
but that Sunday team is, I kid you not, is such a special team.
Yeah,
like,
we've been there a few times.
Francis is the, I don't know if you've noticed, I always give her kudos because she's so good at just, when it comes to food service and resetting up and having your teammates back. She's there and she's always there. I ask for something. If I'm in the weeds, I'm taking all these orders. Can you make me, you know, normally I tell her, can you make me these egg white drinks? You know, I don't want to really make them. But hey, she doesn't even flinch. You know what I love? She doesn't think, she reacts. Boom. Next thing you know, perfectly garnished, perfect cocktail right sitting in front of me. And I already finished my set. Now everyone gets a brand new cold drink at the same time. But that's pressure. You know, that's that pressure that it gives. And then we have a superstar of an apprentice that he earned to be there, Kevin.
I met Kevin when he was still wearing his apprentice
he
shirt.
is sharp, man. I do this, maybe it might be a clowny thing or, you know, at the bar, but, you know, like beats, you know, but it has to be on beat with music because all this energy, again, behind the bar is transitioning forward.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, he was horrendous. I was like, güey, no, nunca has tocado un instrumento. But, you know, he started, oh my God, questionable. We'll just leave it at that. But the effort he put in to grow into it. And now you look at him, you go, and my man is on beat with every beat. My man is on sync with every sync. And it's like, it's beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
But it's nice. It's even more beautiful to know that that's that next generation.
Yeah.
I know that if Francis was to leave or I'm to leave, that next principal is him and he's the lineage to the future of the next ones, you know?
Yeah.
But overall, you know, that school at EO is like, I love that team. It's such a beautiful team. And how it comes together and how everyone holds each other accountable. Not to be a douche, but we hold each other accountable because we want to be better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and especially
You know?
since you're having 50 best for a while, you always
Yeah.
want to keep those standards high.
Yeah. And that's any bar, you know, like say that's a big thing. I had a Katana also.
Yeah.
That sharpness. That's what Katana taught me a lot too, that sharpness. My goal was always to have the bar so sharp that, because myself had eyes everywhere. I don't know how he does it. He just had eyes everywhere, whether it's the floor, whether it's the bar, and he would always come behind the bar and find something. But my goal was always to like, no, leave this perfect. You know, once in a while we got those, because it was always me and Armando working together. But we would have it sharp, and we would celebrate whenever we did have it good. Because guess what? It was a cheeky time.
But talking about Chiqui, salud. Salud for having you here. It's so great having you
Saludcita
and listening
con
to you,
agüita.
to your story.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And you know, our audience also having a good time with us listening, either on their audio or watching the video, because this is on YouTube as well. But yeah, going to your story.
Yeah, so Katana, employees only, and how Superbueno.
This is
When it
another
comes
beautiful story.
to the story.
And
I love this story. I mean, let me sit back. I will sit back here. I'm just listening. I was
This
like,
one-
Está bueno el chisme.
No, this one means a lot, you know. Nacho's always meant a lot, but it took it to a whole other level when I got to know him deeper and work alongside him. So the way I ended up at Superbueno was Nacho saw us. He would always come to see us at Katana Kitten. And I guess he saw something in us and he wanted us to be part of it. So we knew of Superbueno like maybe 2 years before it even happened.
Mhm.
We were all just waiting for the move. And but when it became real, Nacho had a meeting with myself and Armando. And I remember we went to Dante for a little aperitivo and bites. And he told us, he laid out the whole project to us. He was like, this is what's happening. I just wanted to ask you guys if you want to be a part of it. But before that, Nacho respectfully asked Masa if he would let us be a part of it.
Okay.
And of course, Masa, being the giant, genuine person he is, he said yes. So me and Armando said yes. We only asked for, can we have a shift together? And then we have Thursdays together, still rocking at Superbueno.
Meow, meow, meow.
Yeah. But the cherry on top, we have Nachito.
Oh.
Nachito,
on
yeah, I love
Thursdays
it.
also. And when it started, we really set the bar in the sense of like, hey, we set up the bar, and then you have the brilliance of the cocktails from Kip.
Mhm.
What a brainiac, man. I love his cocktails. I love how he thinks about flavors and how he goes beyond. And, he really appreciation of he has to like Mexican spirits and Mexican ingredients in general.
Yeah.
And music, perhaps.
Oh, and me, and
Love
listen,
music.
my man will lay out some bangers. It's crazy. Like, it
Some
really,
good stuff, yeah.
and but that's how we ended up at Superbueno. And at the first year and a half to 2 years at Superbueno to me were so magical. It was my first time in my life getting to work with my music, with the cumbiones, with the rancheras, with those corridos, and having Nacho in the room to match the energy. No. It was an explosion of energy that we just went straight up and nobody was bringing us down.
Mm-hmm.
There was no awards. This was before 50 Best, any magazines. It was just the bar at its most natural state.
Mm-hmm.
And that room was packed.
Yeah, and definitely
Day.
I remember that one of the best things for seeing in that moment when they open is like how much love the industry showed to
Superbueno.
obviously Nacho, but the whole bar, it was like always like industry nights, right? It was always like industry nights.
You know what? Going to Superbueno, I went to the friends and family. I think I used to go Thursdays and Fridays and sometimes Sundays. I was like on Mondays and Tuesdays. I used to go there all the time, and there was a point where I was like, I love this place, but I can come here because every time I go, I run into somebody else, you know, and 1 3 becomes 2 and 2 become 4, you know, like it multiplies. But like what I try to say is like I always have a good time there. I've never been in a sense that, you know, I want to go. Always had a great service. The whole staff of Superbueno has been freaking amazing. Nacho, when he's there, he's like a wonderful human. And everybody, I mean, there, like, even with the cooks pass by when try to go say, like, I always try to say hi because you have to recognize that the entire team is not just the front of the house, you know, like the guys in the kitchen also, they break their backs to make sure that we are getting excellent food. You guys are in the front of the house making excellent cocktails. The maitre d' greeting you at the door. And we know like this place is small for, you know, for the volume, but it still is great, you know, like even if I have to wait outside, which I have, I don't care. I have to wait because I know I'm going to go get a good time. I'm going to get a good drink. And when I see the freaking people that I love to see, you know?
And the good thing about Superbueno in many ways is that being a cocktail bar, obviously later comes with the awards and everything, but they always want to have like a party, you know, like it could be good or bad, but in a sense that when you go there, you're always, you know, seeing people dancing, doing, you know, the circle around, or like
La víbora de la mar, we call it.
Burrito sabanero.
Or like, you know, keep coming with like this crazy birthday.
Oh, the luchadores.
When they brought the box ring.
The luchador, or Armandito brings the little cart.
Yeah.
There's a little cart with a shot
like
in it.
a puppet and you know,
He has like this.
crazy things.
It has such a playfulness to the bar scene, you know. It's like that. Cocktails are great, but we're not saving lives, you know.
Yeah.
We don't need to take ourselves too seriously. I mean, let's have fun.
Yeah.
Let's have fun doing what we love.
And I think, like, from my perspective as a Latino, you know, Mexican, and being in New York, like the brotherhood, sisterhood, it becomes this place, right? Because it's a part that everyone feels included. You know, you listen to bachata, ranchera, salsa, cumbia, mariachi, sometimes a little bit hip hop, like whatever. But it's everybody, you know. Like you go to a lot of different bars in the city, you only listen to one particular place. Like, one particular music, right?
Yeah.
It's either jazz, it's either hip hop, it's either like indie or whatever, right? Because that's what they want. But I think for us, like Latinos, we are so mixed and there's so much going on in our cultures that you can have somebody singing in Spanish from Spain, you have singing somebody in Spanish from Mexico, from Panama, from Brazil, even Brazilian music, like all this kind of music, they just blends together, you know, like it's so multicultural in a way.
And I always said that Superbueno was like the card of like all the Latinos who were barbacks, and now they're running freaking good bars, and showing that, you know, we're still like having that sense of like community, and we enjoy ourselves, and it's not pretentious.
No, because at the end of the day, it's having a good time, doing something for people, and that's it, right? Like you want the people to have a good time. You know, if they go to a bar, whether it's a dive bar, whether it's a cocktail bar, you know, like an elevator per se, or a speakeasy, you know, you want to show a good time. Doesn't matter where they go. But I feel like that's what Superbueno is so different, because you go there and people who doesn't know this culture, they're shocked. They're like, oh my God, what's happening?
Yeah,
you know.
Right.
And for us, it's like, oh my God, this is like my sister's fucking 3-year birthday party. It's my little nephew's first communion. It's my quinceañeras. It's like the wedding. Like you see, like it's so complex in every single sense of the word.
You know, I really do love that it's such a tiny room, but it's very chaotic. I always say it's pequeño pero picoso.
Sí.
And but there's so much beauty that comes in that also, because that is the epitome of pressure. You know, like, how busy can you be and still maintain a smile? Like,
one in the bar, also like banging cocktails all the time, because they're,
you know, like good. How good can you treat someone in front of you under pressure? 10 tickets, standing room, the whole bar is filled. You know, how good can you be kind How good can you love your neighbor, you know? But every year I got very inspired in that topic because of someone that means a lot to me, which is Evans. Evans at Employees Only. When I was stalking there, I would see this guy come out, you know, he'd be probably sweating, and he would always have a smile, whipping up a steak tartare. Steak tartare, he has a million things to do, but he never lost. I've never seen him lose his smile, never lose his composure. He would always be jolly, he'd always be happy, smooth as a criminal, man.
Smooth.
And, you know, like, and it's crazy. If we're talking about someone that's a floor manager, that is not a bartender, but he sets that bar. And I always told him, and I was like, I always mess around, you know, late night, one night, time for like the peda hour. Like, Evans, if I ever write a book, I'm gonna have a chapter that's called The Art of the Smile. And it's gonna be you. You know? But
Cover of the
but going back to the pressure of being that busy, you know, the art of the smile is contagious, you know, like people feel it. People see like, this guy's busy and he's still rocking it. He's smiling, he's enjoying it.
And it's,
But you know,
and-
people do see it.
and especially in this industry, like, you know, you can say it easy, oh, who cannot smile, right? But definitely you learn that you can be super cool, but it's super hard to control yourself sometimes because, like you said, if you have 20 tickets or you have like things to do and then people talking to you, I don't know how they do it, but sometimes you lose it and you're like, wait a second. Or, you know, you respond that, I mean, it's impossible not to like always have a day that you are like not in your senses, but it's very hard. And I think that's the beauty also of hospitality because you have to come to your senses of like, you know, I'm doing this. Obviously, we're going to say it again. We do it this because this is our job. We get money for it, but also it's like, I think the energy trespasses.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that you say, I'm building somebody's career. I'm helping build somebody's career. And people who's not in the industry, they don't know or they don't understand that this is a career for us. Because we could have chosen like going to, you know, become a doctor, a lawyer, or a school teacher, whatever, you know, but we chose to be in hospitality for so many reasons. Yes, it's the money because ultimately everybody's working for some sort of money. And also we're in exchange of time. And our abilities, our ability is our skill, but perhaps is building cocktails, creating an atmosphere for others, and a good time because you don't know if somebody's celebrating their 15-year wedding or somebody's just turning 21. It doesn't matter. You want to show them a good time, but what a better day or what a better way to show them that it's you being you, right? And when somebody's learning and seeing you control yourself, controlling that chaos, it also shows you that, you know, it's beautiful. It's beautiful what you do and what you're doing for others. You know, you're having a good time.
And especially when you work with your best friend, Armando. So
I want to work with Armando. Armando, let's have a shift together.
So you were saying that, let's go back to Superbueno beginning, right? So you were talking to Nacho in the Dante. So how you start working there?
Well, we got hired. We were hired already, and
I remember what you guys told me.
And we knew about this, and we were very excited. You know, I personally, I've always wanted to work with or for Nacho. I knew that already. Like the minute I met him, the way he treated guests, his energy. It wasn't just hospitality. It was hospitality mixed with fun. It was a perfect balance. You know, it was very professional. Like you had all these traits. And then the load of endless connections that they present you to because they want to. And this was Masa too. Masa was so big on this. He just opened doors for everyone around him, you know. That's just who he is. But those connections lead to many more. And, you know, it leads to the next growth of bartenders, you know, especially right now, a wave of so many bars opening of people that we know. And that's so exciting,
definitely.
You know?
And so to this point, like, you know, now you're a bartender at Employees Only, Katana, and then Superbueno. What was the moment that you felt like, oh, you see yourself as that Niel start working in New Jersey?
Oh, oh man, I was very proud. Really, I was very proud. Very proud, very, very proud. But a lot of pressure comes with that too, you know, because I was working 6-7 days a week for a couple of years, and my body started taking a toll. You know,
yeah,
it was tough, but it did help, you know. Like, okay, cool, I'll be at Superbueno Friday, then at Katana on Saturday, you know. Like, if it was a refreshment, it was like going in, hitting the refresh button because I'm with a new team, you know, new standards, but keeping those standards at that level. That's what got difficult. I was like, oh man, once I started feeling like, oh no, that's not good enough, you know.
And you know what? Actually, I'm gonna put in big capitals this right now, is that I've only met one person at this point that has worked in 3 cocktails bars simultaneously that are 50 best bars. Katana Kitten, employees only, and Superbueno. 50 best bar simultaneously. So I mean, working 7 days a week at these 3 different bars, unheard of. The only person, the 2 persons that also that I know is Armando, who Katana, Superbueno, and Lalo and Lalo. Armando and Lalo. They both are Katana and Superbueno. And you work Katana, Superbueno, and employees only. I don't know anybody else that has done that. I mean, that has worked in 3 different cocktail bars that have been
At the same time.
currently on 50 best. And, you know, to me, that's freaking incredible. Because a lot of people never get to work. I've never been on the 50 best. But what I'm trying to say is, like, this is so incredible that you have done that. And you probably don't see it now, but, you know, in a way, everybody who's watching us and people who's in Mexico and other parts of the world watching and listening, they were like, oh my God. And I think you said something like this before, right? Where you said somebody recognized that you worked at 3 different bars or 2 bars simultaneously, but nobody really does. I mean, and to me, that's incredible. And that's like hats off, you know, as a bartender. It's incredible, but, you know, admirable in some ways.
Yeah, because obviously it shows, first of all, hunger of learning. And you were like you said, disciplined and like, I want to do it. And you never quit. Because, you know, like you said, people could be working employees only and be like, oh my God, this is crazy, bye, right? But you want it. Then
3 years.
You have the ethic works, right? Like say, I'm going to learn it this way and this way it has to be. And following the mentors, no? Like this glass, this garnish every single time. And you do it. And then obviously trying to pass that information to others and keep growing and then be humble. Because also we know people who work in many places like this and they have this arrogance and they have like this sense of like, you're not my friend or you're my friend, and you're very humble. And I think that's the best part of this, like always said, and in my opinion, is that if you are in hospitality, you have to be with everyone, right? And we're very, you know, proud of you. We have like, you know, part of the industry saying like, we have a friend that has, you know, this title.
And we are honored that you are, you know, took the time to be here with us, sharing your story, because I think it's important for the young generation to understand that we do this and where we come from, but we're here for a purpose, you know. Yes, of course, we love, you know, to party because we're humans, and we'll have a drink here and there, but we also love this. We love doing this. We love making cocktails. We love creating an experience for somebody else. That's ultimately our goal, right? Yes, we'll make the money. Money will come, but that's there, right? You need to pay, right? You need to put it over your head. But I think that the feeling that we get, I'm saying this on my own perspective as a bartender, is that, you know, when that person comes here and says, I had a really good time, I'll see you next time. Even if they don't come back in a year, I don't care. They'll come back because you make them feel good, right? They might come back in 7 years. Who knows? If they go back and they don't find me, that's fine because they're missing me. It's kidding. No, but like, you know, that's ultimately the goal, like having a good connection. And you know, like, again, we've seen you, we know how you are, and we're so humble. We are so, I'm personally really proud of you as a person, as a man, as a bartender. as a Mexican, you know? Because
Latino.
at the very beginning when I met you, I thought you were Mexican.
So I always have this funny line. No.
I
This
thought
is
you were
big.
Puerto Rican.
Really?
Yeah.
I always have this funny line, yeah, cool. I will always pay respect to the Salvadorian roots, but, in this career, working in kitchen, working in bar, we're always working with Mexican people.
Yeah.
And I just grew so heavily with the culture. I love Guadalajara. I love Jalisco in general. Like, this is my favorite estado. And I always say this funny phrase. I was like, I'm from El Salvador, pero cuando me muera, que me entierren en México.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Que me entierre con la banda.
Yeah. No, but it really, I really do mean it, though, Like, I really do mean it.
Take notes.
It's just, and then Armando told me this story, we're always chatting, and he told me this, Chavela?
Chavela Vargas?
Chavela Vargas.
Oh, yeah.
She's not Mexican.
No.
And he's always
Costa
like,
Rica.
el mexicano nace donde chingada le dé la gana.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
I love it, Armando.
Yeah.
I was like, that's me.
Yeah. So you work a lot, many hours, 6 days, 7 days. When was the time you said, I need time for myself. I need time for my doggy? Because you have a dog, right?
Yes. Yeah, I just, to be honest with you, it was when I started getting pains in my body, and that was the major one, and most importantly, when I knew I couldn't keep up the hospitality that I wanted to give people. Once I felt my battery out and I'm working a shift with not much left to give, and that's not fair to the guests. That's not fair to the humans that I want to connect with.
Or your team as well.
Yeah. And so that's when I was like, no, I can't be selfish. It's not about the money. It was more about, if I can't stay at that standard, then it's
no
time.
idea.
Yeah.
It's time. So it was tough. It was a tough decision, but man, that final night at Katana Kitten was so special.
Yeah, I remember when you posted it, I was like, oh fuck.
I didn't even say it, and I didn't even tell anyone.
But they knew, everybody knew.
And so much love. And one of my best friends, Alan, brought a mariachi band.
Yeah, I like that.
Alan Resga?
Yeah, he's one of my bestest friends.
Yeah,
I love him. So he brought a mariachi band, and there was always this one specific song that always resonated at Katana Kitten with my grand mentor, Masa. It's called Sueños. Dun, 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 dun. And anyways, the mariachi band plays this song, and I'm just like emotional, and I was like, no.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful moment. It was me, Mas Armando, the Barback behind the bar, and we're just going side to side, singing word for note when the feeling is loud and real and pure. And I was like, wow, a beautiful memory.
That's freaking amazing.
It was a perfect memory, to be honest. But all these people that are in our lives, that shape us, it means so much, because now we as a bartender have the responsibility to pay the things that they've taught us and sharpen their knives and sharpen their careers to pay it forward to that next bartender in line, because we can't do it forever.
No, exactly.
And-
I know that sounds kind of silly, but I feel like we have to say it. Like, it was a moment that you were like, you make the worst mistake that you feel like, what am I doing here?
What do you mean?
Yeah, because there's always like, we always talk about like, oh, this and that, but we never mention also the bad side, or like the funny moments that you have. Like, I remember who was saying that they didn't know how to cut limes. I think it was Natalie, right? And then she has to learn how to cut limes, and I believe you have something to.
But but that's what we're there for. We're there to teach them how to do things the right way, or maybe in the more efficient way.
Yeah.
Or maybe even the younger generation has something more efficient that they could teach us.
Yeah.
Because I've had that. Actually, another Kevin story, my apprentice at Employees Only, he told me this little quick little prosecco trick to open a bottle. It's just like you just whoop whoop.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's so fancy. People are just like, that was nice party trick. Can you teach me that? I was like, maybe next bottle.
Are you buying the bottle?
But you know, like all these little things are so effective. But when we're on the stage, it's our stage. There's no need to get nervous for anything over there. We are there for them. We're here to create, set the tone. We set the tone. They don't set the tone.
That's true.
We set the tone.
That's why I like bartending more than serving. Not because we are kind of running the bar. We run the show. We say like we have kind of control of the ambience in a way, right? Like you want to pump it up, you are pumping it up.
Exactly.
People see you, they get hyped.
They do, and you know what? Along with that, you know, that connection. If I see someone that's feeling a song and they're singing it, and if I know some of the lyrics, I'm gonna grab that person's hand. I'm gonna give them their moment, you know, because they're gonna leave that bar that night and they're gonna be like, "What a night I had! I'm coming back." You know.
Yeah, and you know, there's like moments that I feel like nowadays also bartenders they have more permission too. Like when you go to a bar and they start like, you know, shaking the teams, and before it was like too super serious everything, right?
Yeah. Everything was so serious, you know, but
nowadays
it doesn't have to
fun.
be.
Yeah.
You know, they were still giving out that product, that perfect, delicious cocktail, but we can add atmosphere to it. We could add life. We could give it life.
And actually, I had a little conversation with Joaquin Simon. We were at Superbueno, and you know, so Joaquin Simon is an institution, and he works in like, you know, not
Negative payment.
yeah,
Encuerado.
But also, you know, back in the days, like all the bars were more like serious stuff like that. So I asked him like, "What do you think about Superbueno?" And he was like, I thought he was gonna be like, "I don't know, it's too much," whatever, right? He comes in like, "I love it. I fucking love it," because you know, I come from these places that sometimes you say no to everything, right? No changes on the drink, no changes and he says like, "I love Superbueno because you come here and everybody's like happy, you know, the lights are different, you know, bartenders are shaking the tins or, you know, moving the lamps, everything, and so it says a different tone and it's happiness." You know?
Yeah.
I mean, coming from him is, guess whatever you say.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh my God! And what are if audience watching? Where they can find you if they want to come visit you at your bars?
Yeah, I mean, I'm at Employees Only every Sunday, church day. You know, I cover there a lot. I'll be there a lot of Tuesdays and Saturdays. The boys travel a lot, which is nice to be the cover guy. It's really nice.
Yeah.
You know, I love it. I love being there.
Being on call.
Yeah, you know, the energy there is so good. And then I'm at Superbueno every Thursday and Friday.
Cool.
Yeah, we love Thursdays and Fridays. Well, there you go, guys. You guys know where to come and visit Niel if you guys are in the neighborhood, on the Lower East Side, by the way. Can you remind us the address of Superbueno?
Superbueno is on First and First.
There we go.
First to first.
Yeah.
I just know how to get there.
And Employees Only is and
510 Hudson Street.
Yes.
There you go, guys. So if you guys want to come visit Niel, you know where to go. I'll recommend it 100%. Great places. I mean, you can go wrong with the selections. Oh, of course, you know, the bartenders there are amazing in both places. Well,
And also Katana Kitten, like a block away from Employees Only. Still check them out. They still got the coldest highballs in the city.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we are here to celebrate New York City, and I think everybody has their own things. That is why they're open.
I love employees.
Enjoy have many options. Do you wanna say something new for the audience?
I just want to say thank you both for having me. This is, you know, I feel honored to be here. I'm very happy.
Thank you.
It's the first time I do something like this.
Yeah.
And I'm happy.
Another one.
And I'm happy it's with you guys. So
Thank you so much
bring
for
it on, brother.
coming.
Thank you.
Like
we
we
appreciate you. We
said,
admire you a lot.
Oh, thank you.
But you know, from the bottom of my heart, deeply, I really respect what you do, what the team does. You know, because I'm a bartender too, so I know what it takes to go through these steps and be there. You know, so hats off for you, to you,
Thank you.
to the team, and
We're always
everyone
here
else.
for one another.
And also to everyone, to all the bartenders in the world. This is what we do. This is our careers. We love to do this. Yes, we do it for the money, but we also do it because we like it. And we are experienced bartenders. We know what we do, and we love what we do. I think those are the things we do.
I do want to say the barbacks and everything, everybody behind the bar, and also whoever wants to work at the bar, don't give up. And if someone asks you to do something, just do it. You're going to learn. And if someone gives you the opportunity, take it. You're not going to regret it.
Yeah. So, always ask for, always ask. always ask. I don't want to leave without saying, if you guys want to check more episodes like this, go to our website, www.bartalkingbar.nyc.com.
And please subscribe on YouTube so you know we're going to start more interviews, and we're going to have more, grow, so we can bring more people like Niel. And you're going to learn and you're going to enjoy these stories, because I feel like it's very entertaining, but also it's very rewarding knowing that everything happens for a reason, right? And also don't forget to comment on Instagram or YouTube, because that plays the algorithm, and then we can grow into other countries as well.
Nice.
Well, until the next one.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you all.
Why don't we leave by saying talking bar a las 3.
Vale.
¿Vale?
2, 3.
Bar talking bar.
Hasta la próxima.
Chao, chao.
Thank you.